Alright, I don't know how to actually record a video on the computer, so I'll just doing this the old-fashioned way with my phone camera. My name is Mark Kim, and my project will be on how did Egyptian art become standardized. And what I mean by that is how did Egyptian art evolve into what we think of as Egyptian art? You know, with the animal-headed gods, the the perspective, whatnot. What I'll be going of is how did it evolve over time, even if only a little bit, and what were the causes of those changes. I think the best place to start would be to get into the mindset of an Egyptian artist. Most art was functional first and foremost. It generally served a purpose beyond being decorative. For example, art on tombs depicted scenes from mortal life, so the dead person that the tomb was holding could remember what to do in the afterlife, or depicted things that they would encounter in the afterlife. And even more mundane things like pottery, hand mirrors, cosmetic palettes. And I'll be pulling three examples from different points in Egyptian history, and most of them will be religious or ritualistic in nature. Right, the first exhibit I'm pulling from is the Palette of Narmer. Now this is the exception to the mostly religious thing I was discussing. Even although it is fairly ritualized, I will mention it's mostly historical. It's believed to depict Narmer, the first pharaoh to rule over both the upper kingdom of Egypt and the lower kingdom of Egypt. It dates to about 3200 to 3000 BC. And already we can see some of the features that I consider that can be considered to be part of Egyptian art. The composite view perspective, sort of elongated limbs. It's not as stretched out as in later pieces, but it is still there. Now, there's not many here, but there are examples of human figures with animal attributes. These bull-headed people on the top, and there are multiple scenes being depicted at once. Forgive the repeated starting and stopping. I'm just trying to catch my breath. Now already we can see things that are considered pretty common in Egyptian art. The next piece I'm pulling from is this. This is a scene from the Book of the Dead for the Chantress of Amun-Noni. It's depicting, I'm guessing whoever this Book of the Dead was meant for, being judged in the afterlife. Her heart is being weighed against, well, I'm assuming it's a feather. And if her heart is lighter than the feather, that means that she lived a good and virtuous life and gets to go onto the Egyptian afterlife. If it's heavier than the heart, then her soul gets fed to Amit as a nice snack. It's from about 10,050, not 10 not 10,000 1050 BC. I don't know why I said 10,000. And there's plenty of similar attributes to the Palette of Narmer, such as multiple scenes at once. And some of the differences I've noticed right here is there's a lot of hieroglyphics being intermingled with the artwork. The figures appear to be much more skinnier than back in Narmer. And the subject matter is very clearly of a religious nature. It's depicting a scene from the Egyptian afterlife. Right there is Anubis, the one on the scales. The fellow sitting in the chair is Osiris, the king of the underworld. Now, how do we get from the Palette of Narmer to this right here? My current findings suggest sort of a middle ground between those two periods was the rule of Akhenaten. Now, Akhenaten was a pharaoh who, who during his rule replaced. Oh, sorry. This is a picture of Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and their three daughters. It's about from 1350 BC, and during Akhenaten's rule, he attempted to replace the the Egyptian pantheon with with worship of a single god, the god Aten. Then, yeah, he attempted to instate it as the state religion. It did not go through after his death in either somewhere between 1334 or 1336. Pharaohs after him attempted to reinstate the old Egyptian pantheon and try to like brush over the whole Atenism period. Now, I can see here, the figures here are much more elongated, and they almost look kind of alien. Honestly, I kind of I kind of see why the folks at Ancient Aliens kind of thought the whole kind of got that way. But back on track, the figures are much more elongated, and even though it's like focusing on a single figure, that's Aten right there. He was a sun, the actual sun itself. Now I'm working on the theory that what I'm currently working through in my research is that my likely answer for this, for why religion is a much bigger focus in the Book of the Dead picture we saw here, is probably as a reaction to Atenism. After suppression of the other worship of the other gods, there was like sort of a revival of attempting to get the Egyptian pantheon back into focus. Here are my works cited. I'm I'm not sure if it's supposed to be alphabetized by the title of the source or by the author, but it's alphabetized by the title. If that's not how it's done, please let me know. And that is my second project.